Hello, Clayton Vance here with Timeless Homes. Last time we talked about how we got to where we are in terms of just garages. That's one of the biggest complaints and biggest issues that I deal with on a daily basis in terms of my design and what I designed, because what used to be, people had houses, people had garages. And they were two separate things. Now we've merged them all, and now we have garages that are at least the same size as the house, if not bigger. And now what do you do with those in order to make the house look attractive? And so what I want to talk about today are some strategies or issues primarily, and a few strategies to try to make garages look not so ugly. So for instance, I mean, let's start where we started last time. In old historic cities, you'd have, let's just draw a facade of a streetscape, and then you have buildings and stuff, and very kind of, who knows, ordered facades or whatever, and then you'll have this giant arched door, and maybe some sort of classical pediment facade, and some windows up here, and then some. And it would be 3 stories, not 2 stories. And it would be doing this, right? But this door right here, this door would be some huge door. And if you've ever been there, you would also know that in this door there would be a person door in the big giant door. And you're about this tall. And it would just go on, and that would be the streetscape. And that's how they used to do it. It was integral to the entire thing, and it would just, and the garage door, as it were, was a part of it, and there would be a person door in the garage door. So then today, what we did is the simplicity of the modernist movement of the 50s ended up with houses that were, super simple, and the arts and crafts movement, a gable, maybe they did a double gable, which we talk about in other things, and then it's like, all right, so if lots keep getting wider, now what? Okay, well, let's put a garage on the side, and then you put this extra thing, and then you put this 2-car garage over here, and you're like, oh, okay, that works, very functional. Then we decided in the 90s and 80s to start doing McMansions and get to something a little more cute, and we honestly wanted the charm back, and so we broke up facades and did things tighter, and started making McMansions, and started doing this kind of thing, and then we started doing side entry garages over here. And that became the strategy, right? So everyone's seen that, everyone's done that. And then they'd start doing pop-outs and doing windows, and then another little half dormer thing, and then who knows what. But we started doing either side entry garages or making this whole thing right here the front of the garage. So everyone's seen both of those, because there isn't a whole lot of other ways to do it when your lot is wider than it is deep. If your lot is wider than it is deep, you can't come around to the side. It forces you to go straight in, right? You don't have a choice. And that's, when they're calling them postage stamp lots, they're talking about square lots and or wider than deep lots. And that's why the deep lots actually work out better, even if they're more narrow. But the issue, now let's talk about the issue. If you're doing a side entry garage, does anyone out there know what sort of depth or dimension you need to pull a car in, out, and or around? If you're looking at a double-loaded parking lot at Walmart, Target, or wherever you go shopping, and the space between the two parking stalls is about 24 feet, and that parking stall is 18 to 20 feet. It's about 60 feet. curb to curb when you're talking about standard stuff, which means you know what it's like to get out of a parking lot when you're parked like that, right next to a bunch of other people. So you need at least 24 feet to be able to get out of some sort of parking space. And so that means you need at least 24 feet to get out of a garage. And with that, typically you want some sort of landscape buffer between you and the neighbor. So therefore, if we're looking at some sort of lot, you need at least probably 3 feet there to be able to grow something. And then you need 24 feet before you get there. And so you're looking at least 27 to 28 feet before you even hit the garage. The garage, in order to fit a Suburban or anything like that, you have to have it at 26 minimum, preferably 28, but 26 is a good size for a truck or something like that. And so now you're at 54-ish, 54 feet. And if your lot is only 100 feet wide or less than that, 60 feet wide. And this is why, this is the issue with narrow deep lots. This is what I'm talking about. Because if your lot's 130 feet wide, then you got plenty of space, and that's typical. And this is what developers do, and this is what we're used to. And this is what planning departments allow. And this is the easiest way to do it. Side entry garages, if you don't want the garage to face the front, which means your minimum lot width as a developer has to be, and so at least 50 feet of that house, because you'd prefer to have like twice as the depth of the garage. So if it's 50 feet over here, and then you have a setback on the side of 10 to 12 feet and 50, so you're at 100 and 120, say 120 wide, and that is to kind of your minimum comfortable distance in order to get a side entry garage for a standard subdivision in today's world. That was really boring for most of you, totally boring. But what I'm trying to do right now is illustrate that the concerns that I hear all the time about cute neighborhoods, and it's like, why can't we have more charming neighborhoods? Why can't the architecture be better? Blah, 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 blah. It's like, part of it is a function of, and a huge part of it is a function of, lot width and current planning and development practices. And until we come up with a strategy that reconfigures how we enter our houses, back east, older parts of the West, that Midwest and stuff, you have alleys. And you know what? Alleys cost more money. And that's why developers hate doing them. And I get that. But if you want to actually have houses, the lot arrangement or the lot design, this needs to be the house, and the garage needs to be back here. And it needs to be, let me show you something. So if you have a front-loaded garage, you can put it behind the house. You can have some sort of breezeway attached to the house or whatever. And you can do back, and that can be double deep, meaning it's 40 to 42 feet deep, meaning you can park a car in the front, you can park a car in the back, you can access it from the back, access it from the front. And then you only have a 10-foot wide, drive that goes all the way back, and that's not super offensive. The problem is all the curb cuts. And this is the other thing people don't realize and or consider when they're considering front-loaded garages. Go to those old historic neighborhoods and walk down the street. There's no curb cuts anywhere except for streets. And it's those visual interruptions of curb cuts that interrupt the landscape rhythm going down the street that begin to visually interfere with where you can actually put landscape, if that makes any sense. And so that's why you want to try to do it in the back side, but it's fine if you have some in the front side, because it does give that variety, and I'm all about variety. But you can do a 2-car garage in the back plus double load, and there's a big old 3-car garage, and you're still put all of the focus right there on the house. And so that is, in terms of strategizing on how to make a more attractive garage, the most important thing, the first and most important thing, is to get developers to make lots that are configured in a manner that allow you to not have to have so much visual frontage dedicated to the garage. But if that's all you can do, what can you do? First of all, buy a really nice garage door. That's one thing you can do. And next time, I think we ought to actually discuss some real strategies. So stick with us, come back next time, and we'll go into not planning issues, but architectural issues in elevation. See you next time.